The morning I found that bright orange HOA violation notice taped right in the middle of my lawn, still dripping wet from the sprinklers that had just humiliated our dear HOA president in front of half the neighborhood, I realized this war wasn't over. Not by a long shot. You ever look at something so absurd that you just start laughing? Yeah, that was me standing in my driveway soaked in irony and victory at the same time. Let me rewind. My name's Ryan. I'm an electrician. I fix things for a living wiring sensors precision work. And for years my front lawn was my sanctuary. I spent weekends aligning the sprinklers, perfecting the soil, trimming every edge. It wasn't just grass, it was peace. Until she arrived. Karen, the HOA president. A woman with a smile so fake it could have been printed and a sense of ownership that extended way beyond her property line. Every morning she'd cut straight across my lawn, heels stabbing through the grass like she was walking a red carpet. At first I thought maybe she's in a hurry, maybe she doesn't realize. But then it became routine. Coffee cup in hand, sunglasses, that smug little smirk. She didn't just walk across, it was a statement. Like rules are for everyone else. I told her once, twice, 3 times. The third time she looked me dead in the eye and said, "Maybe if your yard wasn't in the way." That line burned into my head. I remember standing there jaw tight thinking, she's not just crossing my lawn, she's crossing the line. So I put up a sign. Private property, no trespassing, nice and clear. The next morning I woke up to find it knocked over. Not by wind, not by accident, by her. My security camera caught it all. Karen, latte in hand, stepping over the fallen sign like it was part of the decor. Something in me snapped that day. I'm not the yelling type. I don't slam doors or throw things. I build. I engineer. And if she wanted to keep playing queen of the neighborhood, I was going to remind her, kings build castles, queens walk into traps. So that night I went into my garage. The smell of solder and metal hung in the air. On my workbench, motion sensors, timers, pressure valves, wires. I stared at them like puzzle pieces waiting to fall into place. That's when the idea hit me. A motion-triggered sprinkler system, but not your average lawn setup. Precision nozzles, triple sensors, surge valves strong enough to launch water like a fire hose. 3 nights later it was ready. I tested it twice. Flawless. The next morning I sat on my porch, coffee in hand, pretending to fix a light fixture. At exactly 7:42, right on schedule, Karen appeared. Floral dress, sunglasses, coffee cup, same path as always. My heart was pounding not from fear, but anticipation. Step 1, sensor activated. A soft click. Step 2, and then whoosh! A jet of icy water shot up, drenching her legs. She screamed this high-pitched, angry shriek that echoed across the block. 2 more jets fired, one from each side, drenching her from head to toe. Coffee went flying, her hair plastered across her face. She spun around, mascara streaking, shouting, "What the hell is this?" I shrugged. Automatic watering system. Sorry. Private property, remember? She glared at me like she wanted to melt the paint off my walls. "You'll regret this," she yelled, stomping off in her soaked designer shoes. I smiled, because that right there was phase 1. But if there's one thing I underestimated, it's how far she'd go for revenge. That afternoon my phone buzzed. HOA violation notice, unauthorized water system, unsafe landscaping modifications. I laughed out loud. She actually filed a complaint against me for watering my own lawn. Then came the Facebook posts. Unruly behavior on Maple Drive. Unsafe installations endangering pets. She never said my name, but everyone knew. Fine, I thought. 2 can play this game. I sent a calm, polite written response. My property wasn't HOA controlled, and her authority stopped at her fence line. But logic doesn't work on people like Karen. To her, facts are just insults wrapped in paperwork. Day 3, she showed up in person. Clipboard in hand, 2 HOA board members trailing behind her like loyal minions. Just a friendly inspection, she said, pretending to measure the sprinkler heads with her pen. "We can fine you for creating a neighborhood hazard." I smiled. "You mean the hazard that waters my grass?" She blinked, then glared. "Oh, you think you're funny." I didn't answer, because I already knew I wasn't going to fight her with words. I was going to fight her with proof. That night I dug through public records, HOA budgets, project lists, spending logs. And there it was, thousands of dollars for beautification projects. Except all the receipts were for plants, statues, and lighting fixtures. In her own yard. So I printed everything, every line item, every shady expense. And I sent it not to her, not to the board, but to the county office. 2 days later I got my show. A white pickup pulled into her driveway, county inspectors. They checked everything, her porch, her yard, even her office. Karen came out furious, shouting, waving papers, red-faced. That's when I knew I'd hit the mark. But her pride, oh, her pride wouldn't let it end there. That evening my cameras caught her on my lawn again, this time holding a spray bottle. She was spraying weed killer on my grass, on purpose. I ran out phone recording. "Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing?" She jumped, startled, then smiled like nothing happened. "Oh, I'm just preventing weeds. HOA regulations, shared property, you know." "This isn't shared property, Karen," I said, "and that isn't your job." The red recording light blinked on my phone, and that smile of hers dropped. She turned and walked off, muttering under her breath. That night I sat on the porch, staring at the dead patches she'd left behind. For the first time I started doubting myself. Was I the bad guy now? Had I gone too far? Maybe I should have just ignored her, let it go, moved on. But then I remembered this wasn't just grass. It was my space, my peace. And if you let people like her trample you, once they'll never stop. So I didn't back down. I rebuilt. And this time I upgraded. I installed sound sensors, flashing garden lights, a high-frequency tone generator that could make anyone jump without causing harm. Everything wired, timed, hidden. The perfect silent defense. Next morning, 7:41, right on time. Karen strutted out, muttering to herself. The first sensor beeped. A second later, a piercing shrill filled the air, high-pitched, sharp. Karen froze, covered her ears. Then the garden exploded with flashing lights, red, yellow, blue, like a disco rave from nowhere. She stumbled backward, shouting, "Turn it off!" But neighbors were already coming out, phones up recording. I stepped onto the porch, pretending to look confused. "What's wrong?" "Oh, that's my new deer deterrent system. Works wonders." The look on her face, priceless. Her perfect little image shattered in front of everyone. She stormed off, hair wild, screaming. The videos hit the neighborhood Facebook group before lunch. Title: President versus the electrician, guess who won? Within hours, the comments poured in. People were cheering, thanking me for finally standing up to her. For the first time in months, I felt peace. But deep down, I knew her type. Karen didn't lose quietly. That night, I saw headlights idling at the corner. Her SUV, lights off. She was planning something. I could feel it. A few nights later, I saw her crouched by her own mailbox, whispering to someone setting up a small hose line along the sidewalk. I almost laughed. She was trying to build her own sprinkler trap for me. I watched from my window as she adjusted the nozzle, aiming it right where I usually walked in the mornings. She hid behind her car phone in hand, ready to record her grand revenge. When I stepped outside, I could practically hear her smirking in the dark. I walked right toward the sidewalk, pretending not to notice. The second my foot hit the pavement, whoosh, water burst out, but not toward me. The stream bounced backward off a hidden metal plate I'd quietly installed days before. The water shot straight into Karen's face. She screamed again and stumbled back, soaked phone still recording, catching her own humiliation in real time. Neighbors laughed from their porches. Someone yelled, "Round 3 goes to Ryan." Karen didn't come back after that. The next week, the HOA held a quiet vote. New rule: no resident may cross another's property without permission. Simple, clear, poetic. Karen lost her position. Rumor was she tried to appeal, but after the financial audit and the viral videos, no one backed her. A few months later, her house went up for sale. Now every morning I sit on my porch with a cup of coffee, watching the sun rise over my lawn, green, peaceful, untouched. Across the street, there's still a faint water stain on her old driveway. A small reminder that power doesn't give you the right to trample others. Sometimes justice doesn't come from shouting or fighting. Sometimes it comes from a well-timed sprinkler and a man who knows how to wire a lesson that sticks.